Um, hey, thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, this is super last minute. So hold on just a second.
Yeah,
If you don't mind, I just got to move my desk.
Yeah. You want me
How about that?
Kate, will you remind me? Nancy, I think, mentioned that you might have a hyphenated last name, or do you want to just go by Kate Punderson?
Kate, I don't have a hyphenated name, but I use my middle name a lot because that's what people know me in Maine mostly.
Okay.
And it's Weber. So it's Kate Weber Punderson.
Okay. And is it Weber with one B or two?
Two B's.
Okay, gotcha. And so is that what you want me to refer to you as? You got it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Headmaster, Sierra Bassett Valley
Head of
Academy?
School.
Got it. Head of school.
The title is head of school.
You got it. Kate, I was telling Nancy, I was like, man, I wish we'd known about all these connections sooner. We would have come up and spent more time. Sam was actually just up at Sugarloaf like a week ago. So I want to just generally speaking, I mean, you guys have 4 or 5 connections to Sierra Bassett Valley Academy that are now somehow involved in the Olympics and or Paralympics, whether that's Liam competing for Team Canada. You've got obviously Seth. You've got Alex Tuttle. You've got Nikki Pilavakis Dvorin. Did I say it right?
That's right. Yes.
And so, and also Mike Day, right?
That's right.
So first of all, when you take a step back and you look at all of the talent that you have that's now representing either Canada or USA in the Olympics with a Maine connection, how does that feel?
It feels really good. Maine has such a long history of snow sports and competitive snow sports. And, I've been a part of that here at Sugarloaf and Sierra Bassett Valley Academy really my whole life. And it's just wonderful to be a part of that ongoing tradition that started so many years ago. And to have so many connections from Maine, from CVA, from Sugarloaf, representing home countries at the Olympics, it's a real honor and privilege to be a part of it.
Awesome. I mean, it goes. Let's be blunt, right? There are many great schools in the Northeast that do similar style winter sports programs. What Definitely. Is it about Sierra Bassett Valley that has produced so many Olympians and Olympic connections?
Well, I think it has to do again with that tradition and that having a dream and having teachers, coaches, administrators, community support who just love a kid with a dream and want to support that. And that's the culture here at CVA. We instill hard work, discipline. We teach these athletes how to take risks, right? How to fail, how to get up, builds that resilience. And they just dream big, and we support those dreams.
I'm sorry if this is ignorant. Snowboard cross is a relatively new sport, right? And Liam is competing in it, and he was a grad in 2015.
Right.
So what kind of coaching at the CVA level goes into a relatively new sport like snowboard cross?
Yeah, absolutely. Starts with the fundamentals, right? Well, first it starts with a love of the sport, a love of outdoor sports, a love of being outside in the winter and challenging yourself. Then it starts with the fundamentals after that, right? Good coaching who's building those snowboarding fundamentals. So you've got a passion for the sport, you've got those fundamentals, and now we're going to fuel that competitive drive and that fire. So throughout middle school, high school, and those few years after high school is when you hone all of that together and it builds. Now, it takes a lot of years in snow sports to really develop all that competitive skill, drive, passion, and be able to take it all the way to the Olympics. So after Liam graduated from CVA, he spent a couple of years continuing to train and hone his skills here. Then he went back to Canada, where he trained with the Canadian team, and they've built on that foundation that he built here at CVA. And now he's right where he wants to be.
So cool. Forrest Carey, am I pronouncing his last name correctly?
Yes.
Forrest is the U.S. men's alpine head coach. I mean,
yes.
When you think about this, like, how cool is it that we have so many people that have gone so far? I would say it's unique to CVA and this part of Maine, and frankly, Maine as a state. I mean, we think about the Summer Olympics, and like Texas and Florida and California and Colorado, they produce
Right.
all of these athletes. Finally, Maine in the Winter Olympics is really well represented. When you think about people like Forrest, who date back to 1994 as a grad of CVA, can you talk about what his journey was like, starting, basically 20 years before somebody like Liam?
Yeah, exactly. So again, he grew up here in Maine, right? Grew up right in Kingfield, attended the academy. Ski racing is in his blood. It's in his DNA. So he was a competitive alpine ski racer, very competitive at the high school level, at the collegiate level. He was on the U.S. ski team. He chased those Olympic dreams. After he retired from competitive skiing, he went to coaching. So he coached at CVA. He coached at college, and then he went to coach for the U.S. ski team. And he's really giving back to that sport that he loves. That you just, once you're in it, you can't get out of it. And I love how these alums are giving back to the sport that gave them so much. And that's key for the next generation, right? We know that for that next generation to be headed to the Olympics years from now, we need great people who are passionate about the sport, passionate about kids, to come back and give back to the sport as coaches. So I'm equally as proud of our coaches as I am of our athletes, because they are committing so much of themselves back to their sport.
So then very quickly, does Mike Day get to come back and help coach every once in a while?
Yeah, he did come back actually and coach at CVA before he coached for Mikaela Shiffrin in the U.S. ski team. So again, it's really cool. And Nessa Zimian, who's an alum, mogul skier who's coaching in Beijing, she's come back as a guest coach here at the academy. So we're keeping those ties tight.
When your current students get to have experiences with these coaches of such high caliber, what's their reaction?
Well, their reaction is, hey, this guy, this gal did just what I'm doing now. And if they can do it and make it as far as they made it, I can too. So again, not only the Liam is motivating and inspiring the next generation, so are the coaches.
I didn't get to talk about Nessa much, but I would like to. And also Nick Stagers. I mean, I think Ecuador might have only one athlete, which makes Nick's role even cooler, right?
It does.
Let's also, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Brazil and Ecuador, as far as my ignorance, I would not picture those as being particularly winter sport oriented countries, given their climate.
That's right.
And you guys are able to send talent from CVA to make them competitive in the Olympics. When you think about that, one, what goes into that? Does it take more work when you're trying to bring up somebody that's not necessarily winter sport inclined, so to say? And then when you realize how much work has gone into it, how do you feel?
Well, I think that it does take more work to sort of inspire and convince their home countries that there is value in this experience of sending an Olympian to the Winter Olympics. So, our coaches are involved in inspiring not only that athlete, but the culture and the community support back home behind them. And, that's what's so cool about the Olympics, where you get countries able to participate that wouldn't necessarily normally be able to participate in the World Championships or the World Cup. And just for CVA to be able to bring all these nations together as a part of that is pretty neat.
Kate, you've been extremely generous with your time. I've already taken 10 minutes of it. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to make sure people know about CVA and its connections to the Winter Olympics in Beijing?
I think, CVA is a place where dreams come to life. And for so many of our student athletes to be able to be inspired by these Olympians with connections to Maine, it's really what we're all about. And I can't stress enough the Maine culture, the Maine history of skiing and snowboarding, the support behind it. It's not just Carrabassett Valley and Sugarloaf, but it's the whole state. And we don't take that for granted. And we think that's a big part of why these athletes are successful, because they learn that grit, that determination, that hard work from the state of Maine.
I love that. I did have one last question that I forgot to ask you, and this may be more of a Sugarloaf question. So if it is, feel free to just, cut me off and redirect me. How many of the current or former Team USA athletes have come to spend time at Carabasset Valley to train or hone their skills when they're in an off season or something like that?
I can't answer that.
I mean, ballpark it. Is it a lot or a little?
A lot, dozens and dozens, hundreds over the years. I mean, for example, Sugarloaf has incredible training venues. That's another reason why our athletes are so successful. It's because Sugarloaf has a tradition of competitive snow sports, and they put so many resources and support behind developing junior athletes. So not only alpine racers, but mogul skiers, park skiers and snowboarders, snowboard cross, ski cross. So Sugarloaf's competitive venues are absolutely world class. So because of that, we host a lot of competitions here at Sugarloaf. For example, this March, we have the US Alpine National Championships coming back. So all of those Olympians will come back to Sugarloaf or come to Sugarloaf for the first time and race on our famed race courses. So that's another huge part of why CVA Sugarloaf, Maine is so well connected and well represented in Beijing.
I got to ask one more thing. I was told that the narrow gauge, what's the appropriate word? Course or track?
Trail, narrow gauge trail.
Narrow gauge trail is the road to Olympic alpine skiing.
That's what we say. We say the road to the World Cup leads down narrow gauge. So narrow gauge is the famed downhill super G giant slalom trail that all of these racers race at that highest level. And it's the same trail that we're training our young 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th graders on. So they're getting a taste of that world-class terrain starting right here at CVA.
That's awesome. Kate, thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate it. Is there anything we didn't cover?
I don't think so. Nancy asked for if I had any more assets like photographs, video. What's your timing? When would you need those things?
We don't need them today,
Okay.
but in the next week, we would need them so that we can put something together, because our Olympic Zone show begins on Saturday. We don't have a Sunday show, but then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're off again on Sunday. And then the second week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So, but we also would like to ideally, I'm going to stop the recording.
In 7th grade.
You got to say that one more time because I want to make sure I get it correct.
Okay. I grew up here in Carabasset Valley. I started attending CVA in 7th grade and graduated from CVA in 1989. And then I came back, went on to college, came back and started working here in 2001 and became the head of school in 2011. So that's how long I've been here.
Yeah. The reason I asked is one of my really good friends from